Something truly unbelievable is happening right now in Washington, D.C. And I'm not even referring to Netanyahu's historic visit as the first foreign leader with President Trump since Trump's inauguration for his second term. We are witnessing a shift in the way American leadership is talking about Judea and Samaria. Yes, this beautiful, biblical, and ancestral area, our homeland, that is the bedrock of morality as the whole cultural, national, and religious beginning of the Jewish people. It all took place here in these hills. And things look like they are about to get very exciting, even as we continue to try to defeat our Islamo-Nazi enemies in this war forced upon us following the trauma of October 7th, 2023. Let's start with Congressman Andy Harris of Maryland, who just sent a powerful letter to Prime Minister Netanyahu, one that every Israeli and every freedom-loving person. Congressman Harris writes, and I quote, "The state of Israel has overcome a terrible tragedy and has risen from it in an inspiring way. Many of us have visited the Israeli communities in the border region with Gaza and have witnessed the horrors firsthand. It is absolutely clear to us that this invasion must never happen again." Congressman Harris then cites the Knesset resolution, which states, again and I quote, "The establishment of a Palestinian state in the heart of the land of Israel would constitute an existential threat to the state of Israel and its citizens, perpetuate the Israeli-Arab conflict, and destabilize the region." And then Congressman Harris makes crystal clear where he stands. Quote, "As a member of the U.S. Congress, I stand with you in this decision and pledge to support you unwaveringly, especially in the wake of the war that began on October 7th. The people of Israel have a historical and national right to the land of Israel from the river to the sea. I support a strong Israel and firmly oppose the introduction of any such terrorist entity that threatens Israel's integrity, especially in the heart of its biblical homeland." End quote. From the river to the sea, this is Congressman Andy Harris of the United States Congress affirming the full, historical, national, and biblical right of the Jewish people to our ancestral homeland. This is huge, but it doesn't stop there. Also, as an aside, I'm personally blessed to know Congressman Harris. And when I visited Washington, D.C. this past December on my Yes Israel trip following Trump's election victory, I had the privilege of hearing Congressman Harris's special post-Trump election win message of support for Israel firsthand. Take a listen. Congressman Andy Harris, a big supporter of a strong U.S.-Israel strategic alliance to help both of our countries and the whole freedom-loving world. Israel's going through tough times, and we are the front line of the whole freedom-loving world. We're dealing with Syria, Gaza, Judea and Samaria, southern Lebanon. Israel's want safety. Israeli don't want the idea of a Palestinian state, sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, and ensure it's gone. What messages do you have for the Jewish people and the state of Israel today?
Well, look, the future looks better after our elections November 5th. You obviously are going to have a real friend in the White House. There's no question about it, and that's really important. In today's dangerous world, there's no better friend to have than Donald Trump in the White House. And I think that's going to change the landscape of what the next few years look like for Israel as it wins its battle against its enemies.
Thank you, Congressman. God bless you and all the important work you're doing for all of us. Going back, that powerful letter that Congressman Harris sent to Netanyahu was thanks to the work of Ruthie Lieberman, who I work with on our Yes Israel project. The Yes Israel project, for those who don't know, because every once in a while I put videos out about the work, it's a pro-Israel advocacy educational organization dedicated to strengthening the U.S.-Israel alliance via relationship building and educating policymakers about Israel's strategic, historical, and biblical significance. And this is just one of the many results of that work over the years of relationship building and alliance building with our friends and allies in Washington, D.C. Now let's talk about Congresswoman Elise Stefanik. Last week, during Elise Stefanik's nomination hearings for U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Congresswoman Stefanik was asked a direct question. Listen up.
30 seconds left. I'm rarely surprised by answers in my office, but I did ask you whether you subscribe to the views of Finance Minister Smotrich.
I'm sorry,
Smotrich, this is the Israeli Finance Minister Smotrich, and the former National Security Minister Ben-Gvir, who believe that Israel has a biblical right to the entire West Bank. And in that conversation, you told me that, yes, you shared that view. Is that your view today?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, has a biblical right to Judea and Samaria. It's not the West Bank, it's Judea and Samaria. But she didn't stop there. Stefanik also vowed to fight back against the blatant Jew-hating anti-Semitism at the United Nations, where hopefully she will be placed. Listen up. This is what she says.
Because if you look at the anti-Semitic rot within the United Nations, there are more resolutions targeting Israel than any other country, any other crisis combined. And we have significant national security councils, the anti-Semitism, whether it's UN Women failing to condemn Hamas's terrorist attack and terrorist regime against innocent civilian women, using rape and targeting women specifically, taking them hostage. I am overjoyed that those 3 young women hostages were returned home. We need to stay committed to ensuring every hostage is brought home. I've met with many hostage families. This position, we need to be a voice of moral clarity on the UN Security Council and at the United Nations at large, for the world to hear the importance of standing with Israel. And I intend to do that. This year will mark the 50th year since the disgraceful Zionism is Racism resolution at the United Nations. And at the time, our U.S. Ambassador, Daniel Patrick Moynihan, spoke out strongly against that disgraceful resolution. That is the type of leadership that I hope to bring, if confirmed, to the United Nations. And President Trump has a tremendous record when it comes to standing with Israel, whether it's the Abraham Accords, whether it's his commitment to combating anti-Semitism, or recognizing Jerusalem as the eternal capital of Israel. This is a strong, strong record, and I hope to do that at the UN if confirmed.
And again, the importance of Congressman Stefanik's statement is that Jew-hating anti-Semitism is a cancer in any society or institution because it allows for the growth of other hatreds. Whatever starts with the Jews does not end with the Jews. It snowballs to affect others. So Congressman Stefanik's stand up against the blatant, systematic, Jew-hating anti-Semitism targeting Israel at the United Nations is about making America and the world a safer place, not just Israel. And then for the cherry on top, just yesterday, President Donald Trump was asked in the Oval Office about annexation, Israel applying sovereignty in Judea and Samaria. What was President Trump's response? Listen to this.
It's a small country in terms of land. See this pen, this wonderful pen? My desk is the Middle East. And this pen, the top of the pen, that's Israel. That's not good, right? You know, that's a pretty big difference. I use that as an analogy. It's pretty accurate, actually. It's a pretty small piece of land. And it's amazing that they've been able to do what they've been able to do when you think about it. There's a lot of good, smart brain power, but it is a very small piece of land, no question about it.
This answer is huge, huge. Never before have we had a better opportunity to finally do what we must do for the Jewish people, for the world. Netanyahu has the opportunity, together with the Israeli government, to finally apply sovereignty over our biblical heartland of Judea and Samaria. So what is the difference today? Well, understand, since Israel's miraculous liberation of Judea and Samaria in the 1967 war, the miracle war, consecutive Israeli governments have failed to do exactly what we need to do, apply sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, our ancestral homeland, that we liberated in a defensive war. And let's be honest, our enemies and even our allies have seen this as a weakness. Because what kind of nation refuses to officially claim its own ancestral homeland and be willing to give it away? What kind of people voluntarily offer to give away their biblical, historical, ancestral homeland to an enemy population that was literally branded and invented by the KGB as Palestinians in the 1960s for the sole purpose of destroying Israel? Instead of applying sovereignty upon liberating Judea and Samaria in the 1967 Six-Day War, which again was a defensive war by our Arab Muslim neighboring countries aimed at destroying Israel and throwing all the Jews into the sea, consecutive Israeli governments have treated Judea and Samaria as a negotiating carrot to dangle in order to give away in the delusional hope of peace with an enemy population educated by a 1,400 Islamic jihadi ideology that aims to destroy us. So today, our reality is finally pushing all the forces to understand that sovereignty in Judea and Samaria can, should, and must be applied. So, first of all, let me share with you the data. A recent poll we commissioned at the Pulse of Israel, together with the sovereignty movement led by Nadia Matar and Yudit Katzavor, revealed 68% of Israelis support sovereignty over Judea and Samaria. 71% of Israeli Jews oppose the establishment of a Palestinian state. Israelis overwhelmingly support sovereignty in Judea and Samaria, not just because it's our ancestral homeland, but because it's the only way to protect ourselves from the enemies that surround us, including in Bethlehem, right near me, that continue to murder Jews and wage war to destroy Israel. Just this morning, 2 Jews were murdered and 6 were injured by terrorists. Netanyahu and our government can no longer ignore the will of the Jewish people in Israel. The data is there. The Jewish people in Israel want sovereignty to protect ourselves as the right thing to do. And now we have the support of the Trump administration, which again, it is huge. So where do we go from here? We hope and pray that the Trump-Netanyahu meeting not only gives Israel the green light to end the nuclear threat from Iran, not only paves the way for total victory against Hamas in Gaza, not only ensures total victory against Hezbollah in Lebanon, but it also lays the groundwork for Israel to apply sovereignty, finally, in Judea and Samaria. Understand, regardless of what is decided now in the Trump-Netanyahu meeting, and what we know or what we don't know, we are heading in the right direction. The trajectory is positive. It will happen. It will get done. It is not a question of if, but a question of when. Now is the time. We must stand strong. We must demand what is rightfully ours, and we must secure the future of Israel for generations to come, because we, the Jewish people in our ancestral homeland Israel, are the front line of the whole freedom-loving world. The world is watching us, and we will not be stopped. Am Yisrael Chai. Everyone, pray, pray, pray. Pray for our leaders. Pray for our holy IDF soldiers. Pray that everything, as much as possible, is decided positively in this Trump-Netanyahu meeting, and strengthen your faith in the one above. Regardless of what happens now or doesn't happen yet, it will happen, and the Jewish people will have total victory. It's going to be a bumpy road still. Not everything is going to be roses to the top, but the trajectory is positive. Never forget. That's it for today's Pulse of Israel video. If you are not yet a subscriber, what are you waiting for? Go to pulseofisrael.com and click to subscribe to the one belief-based, inspiring, politically incorrect truth about Israel, the Jewish people, and the freedom-loving world. And yes, we are a donor-based operation. Our videos are free, and it's thanks to your donations we're able to do our work and have our videos seen. And we're heavily shadow banned and censored across all social media platforms. So your donations make a huge difference. Large or small, every once in a while, click on the donate button on pulseofisrael.com. Shalom, everyone, and thanks for watching.
Pulse of Israel, frontline videos from the Holy Land. Support our work by donating today.